So, welcome back guys to another video, and let's talk about Firesteels and why I carry so many of them. So, welcome back guys to another video, and thank you for joining me here once again. As I say, we're going to talk about Firesteels in this video. Now, I'm going to make reference to one particular video a lot in this one, and that is the video I put out about fire lighting and the equipment I use and why I use what. So I'll leave a link to that up in the top right hand corner and down in the description, so definitely go check that one out. There's some terms in this video that I'm going to use that are from that video, so it'll be beneficial to have watched that. So I'm going to keep it really simple. I carry anywhere between 2 and 4 Firesteels every time I go out to the woods. And a lot of people are probably thinking that that is incredibly excessive. So let's first have a look at what I carry, and then I'll talk about why. So I've kind of got a few stages, but let's start with the one that I 100% always have on me, and that is around my neck. So when I'm out in the woods, I have this lanyard around my neck. Now, the principle behind this lanyard comes from Rainier's, and there's some things on this, or that I want to have on this, that I don't quite have yet, that I'm working on getting. But on here I have a whistle, which is always important when we're out, but I've also got Firesteel. So, and that's what we're talking about today. So on here I've got one of these simple, cheap Firesteels. And the reason I've got one of these cheaper ones on here is I actually find, one, bright green is helpful, you know, keeping this visible. But two, it throws, these cheap ones tend to throw really nice big easy sparks. And it's also quite lightweight. So that lives around my neck when I'm out, and that is always on no matter what I'm doing, whether I'm hiking or bushcrafting or camping or whatever, that's always on my neck. Firesteel number 2 lives in my left hand warmer pocket of my trousers on a lanyard connected to the belt, not to the belt loop. And this is a Firesteel by Forester Bushcraft. So he has a quick release system that allows you to clip it in and out, which is really nice. This is just a lovely handmade Firesteel here. I think this one's a beech handle, quite thick, and if I just take my knife out of my sheath here, this also throws some really nice sparks onto, you know, when you're trying to light a fire. So that's generally always in my pocket when I'm out as well. So 90% of the time I have both of these on me when I'm out. We then add the third Firesteel, which lives on my knife sheath. So again, this is by Forester Bushcraft. It's a slightly different design. This one's just got the lanyard hole, and we'll just take it off the sheath to talk about it. So again, this is by Forester Bushcraft, as I say, slightly different design, slightly thicker ferrocerium rod than the other one, in, I believe that is a oak handle. I might be wrong, might be butchering that. And I've just got a bit of bungee cord, shock cord on there to attach it to the sheath. And just to demonstrate again, this Firesteel also does really nice sparks. So that's the third Firesteel there. It's super simple. And basically this one is on me when my knife's on me, because, so whether my knife's on my person or just in my bag, I would have this Firesteel. The fourth Firesteel that I might be carrying, that I'm not carrying today, is in my possibles pouch, and it's another one of these cheap, simple ones, the exact same as that one, and it's in my possibles pouch. If you want to check out my possibles pouch, check out this video up here and in the description. But that kit is only with me if I've got a backpack. So if I've got a backpack with me and that possibles pouch is in there, then there is a 4th Firesteel accessible to me. Now, that might seem like a lot to people, and it is a lot. That's 4 Firesteels, bearing in mind that I also always have a lighter in my pocket, so I could be carrying anywhere up to 5 or 6 fire lighting methods with me, and that is quite a lot. So why do I carry so many? Well, part of it is the philosophy of 3 is 2, 2 is 1, and 1 is none. So you always carry backups. So in my opinion, you should always be carrying at least 2 Firesteels. So the one around my neck, as I say, it comes from the philosophy that Raymiers uses of having a neck lanyard on with some essential and really helpful items. And it's a similar philosophy to the neck knife philosophy, I believe, that Morris Kahansky brought in, about how if you're carrying something on a lanyard around your neck, it's the one thing you're never going to lose, or it's very hard to lose. If you've got a Firesteel in your pocket, even if it's on a lanyard, you could lose it. Something around your neck is very difficult to lose. So this neck lanyard very rarely gets used. If I'm going to use a Firesteel, it's going to be the one in my pocket. Generally speaking, that is the one that lives in my pocket. This Peter Forster Bushcraft one is always my primary choice for Firesteel. Bearing in mind that Firesteel is my primary choice, not my go-to choice. For fire lighting methods, go-to is always lighter because it will always, or it's more reliable, or not reliable, but more definite to give me a fire. So that's my. So the one around my neck actually very rarely gets used. It can come in handy when I'm doing things that aren't bushcraft, because if I'm not bushcrafting and I'm not wearing my Fjallraven Vita Pros, then I don't have the Firesteel in my pocket generally. And there's often times where I'll be out hiking and not, and take this off my neck to light my stove or whatever, to cook or boil water. But really, the idea of the neck one is that it's there in case the shit hits the fan, and I need to, in an emergency situation, I will always have that. I then have the one in my pocket, which is, as I say, my go-to. It's the one, or it's my primary. It's what I use every single time, and it is probably the most worn one I have. It's not overly worn though, and that is just basically that's the Firesteel. The one on the knife, some might say, is unnecessary, because what I'm basically doing is, if the knife's hanging on my belt, I've got one on each side and one on my neck, and some might say that that is pointless. And to an extent it is, because I very rarely need to actually use this Firesteel. But I carry it for a couple of reasons. Number one, it adds no weight, or very negligible weight. It's not really extra, especially when you're already carrying a DC4 on the front of your knife. But the other thing is, there are occasions where, for whatever reason, I might have my knife and not have anything else, or I might have the one around my neck, but it could be that I've put on a different pair of trousers, forgotten to take this one out the pocket, but I've got a knife with me. So it means that wherever my knife is, I can basically get a fire going. So heaven forbid I lose the one around my neck, which shouldn't happen, or I might lose the one out my pocket. That's slightly more likely to happen. Should, for whatever reason, as I say, I be without my prior Firesteels, if I've got my knife, I have the ability to start fire completely. If I have this knife with me, I have the ability to gather material, to start a fire, and the means to actually start it. I obviously, as I say, carry a lighter, which isn't what this video is about, but I do carry a lighter. And that is, as I say, it's my go-to. If I needed to get a fire going desperately, because I'd fallen in a river and I was freezing and I needed a fire, bam, lighter's coming out and it's getting used. Obviously, if it's wet, it might not, but we'll see. In terms of the fourth Firesteel and why I've got that, is that's really redundancy. It never gets touched. And it's just one of those things that the idea of a possibles pouch is that it has everything that you could possibly need. So I can grab that kit and do a lot of things with it. So there is a Firesteel in there, but it doesn't really get used, so I don't really count it. In my mind, I carry 3 Firesteels. The one in that kit doesn't really count, but you know, it is technically there. So it's 3 Firesteels, and as I say, that's my emergency, that's my usual, and the one on the knife I do actually use quite a lot. I tend to, if I'm out and I've got my knife, I tend to kind of just randomly pick between one of the two, whether it's the one on the sheath or the one in the pocket, doesn't really matter. And the thing is, of course, with Firesteels, they're not exactly heavy. They weigh literally nothing, unless you're carrying one of the massive, like half-foot length ones. They weigh basically nothing. They're really quite small. And I mean, they all will last. They last for a long time. Some people might have been thinking, oh, is he carrying them in case it runs out? No. If you're running out of a Firesteel in one sitting, you have a big problem. But yeah, there we go. That is what I carry and why I carry so many. Hopefully that makes sense. Maybe you learned something from this video, and that would be brilliant. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. If you liked it, make sure to leave a like down below, and if you're new here, please do consider subscribing as well. Stay tuned for more videos coming on the channel, and until next time, bye for now.